Welcome, everyone. Welcome into Reality Check. This is your host, Crystal Jordan, and it is a beautiful Monday night. I'm blessed to be here with you all. And you all know, usually we're talking relationships, but tonight we have a special guest. She's no stranger. She's been here before. We enjoy having her. You all know you recognize her face from acting, but recently we've seen her kind of pivot with her fitness and also being a therapist. She's has a show on TV One titled Life Therapy with AJ Johnson. Please help me welcome the very beautiful AJ Johnson. Welcome, AJ.
Hey, sis. How are you?
I'm good. I think the last time we had you on, we were talking couples therapy. Couples therapy.
Couples retreat.
Couples retreat. Yes.
Well, wait,
yes.
I love that there's now two shows, and you're kind of confused with the titles. The couples therapy. The best problem to ever have. It's couples retreat, right? It's couples retreat and life therapy. Two different shows.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's funny because, like you said, I know that we've seen you. I knew years ago because you were here in Atlanta years ago, and you were really talking about fitness. So I was like, okay, AJ is the girl that we go to if we need fitness questions. I've heard you give a secret to getting rid of cellulite, which we may need to talk about later today. Yes, but I love this, that in addition to still being an amazing actress and all that, you really are taking on trying to help people live their best lives. And whether it's in relationships, romantic relationships, or just life, which is really needed right now.
Well, I heard you say, and thank you so much for the amazing introduction. You're always so great at that. And I love that our past conversations have stuck with you.
Yes.
That's always a compliment. So I love that you remember stuff we've talked about. But, it's interesting that you say pivot because, I find so many people going, so are you still acting? Are you now life coaching? Yeah. And I think we're living in a time and space where we have to get used to, not have to, but we should get used to maybe embracing the and instead of the or. We live this existence of we're supposed to be this or that, live here or there. And God doesn't do that in my life. God tells me I'm this and that, and I live here and there. Mm-hmm. And so I'm doing what I consider I'm doing it all. I'm in a season of overflow, divinely given to me. And I got to tell you, I'm just trying to keep up. So whether it's show, acting in films, life coaching with TV One, life coaching with VH1, here with you doing this live interactive, IGs, it doesn't matter. It's just we're in a time where I think we've got to help each other. And part of my calling is to serve in that space. Mm-hmm. And so here I am, and I'm just honored,
Well, we already got our first reality check of the night, and that is embrace the and. I love that. Mwadi just put that in the chat, embrace the and. So we definitely will take that nugget. And as we start this, I was excited about today because I asked when I knew you were able to speak with us, I was like, can we get AJ to do some quick questions just to help other people? We see you doing this on Life Therapy, and I have a little clip. One of my favorite clips from the show this season so far is a financial intervention with husband and wife. So I'm going to play this clip, and then I want you to talk a little bit about, because I think a lot of us can relate to this couple. I definitely, especially right now.
You and me both. I love that episode. So whatever clip it is, I'm sure I'm going to love it.
Absolutely. This is super cute.
Because his is gone in a couple of days. His is
so
gone.
that 7,000 is also for the kids.
For everybody. Everybody.
Except for your 3,000.
Except for
my 3,000 for what I got to do.
And what you got to do with your 3?
I mean, listen, I'm on the road.
He bets. He gambles all the time.
So this is all non-productive.
Listen, I like to play poker, and I play the game. Yes, I do play 2K, and it's serious, and we bet. But what I'm saying is, if all the bills is paid, food in the refrigerator, listen, I'm on the road with a guy, Lil Duval.
Yes.
Yes, living my best life. So I'm out here living my best life with my little $3,000. Bills is paid. What is the problem?
Yeah,
okay,
and then we live in a stress life.
Who's stressing?
I'm stressing.
Why? The lights on?
But is life just the lights on?
The mortgage paid,
now,
food in the refrigerator.
Now.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah.
But what about in 5 years? What about next year when there could be a
Hilarious. The reason I love that clip is because it reminds me of one of the men and women. Women are looking at, okay, what are we going to do later? Man is like, we good. Bills are paid right now. I want my 3,000. I'm good. As long as the bills are paid, you ain't got nothing else I need to do. I'm going to go have fun.
Listen, they're so, well, first of all, I'm going to let you ask whatever the question is that's coming out of that clip, because that clip is so full of so, but I'm trying to figure out where do you want to go first? That's the thing.
Well, I guess, the question from that clip is, you have people that on one side live in the moment, and we're taught, live in the moment and enjoy that. But then we also want to be, like you said, productive and think about our future. Where do you find that balance? Even if you're by yourself, it doesn't have to be a couple, but finding the balance between making sure that you embrace today and enjoy, the fruits of your work, and then also being responsible for your future. Where is a good place to find that balance?
Well, one of the things that we discovered in that episode, and I think it's the best advice for all of us, including me. So understand, I mean, the fact that they came to me for financial advice, I was like, really? I don't know if I'm the right person, but I'll see what I can do, because I'm still in progress. Please believe me, in my baby boy voice, right? I think what has to happen is we can't be afraid of trial and error, And what I mean by that is you got to try something, see if it works a week or two. And then if it doesn't work, don't be afraid to try something new. That's actually what we did in that episode with J-Ski, because I just basically put some formulas in place and sent them away for 2 weeks to just try it and see what happens. And what that means is, we were talking about $3,000. And of course, as the episode went on, he was talking about that was his pocket change. Well, then we started talking about that his wife doesn't make the money and she doesn't write the jokes. And it just kind of gets into more than just the money. It gets into the understanding of relationship and boundaries and financial understanding. So I think that's the other thing, whether it's you and a couple, which some people may be, I think you have to decide, what is the union? What's the financial understanding in the union? And if it is you by yourself, don't be afraid to say, this week I'm going to save more than I'm going to spend. Or this week I'm going to say, instead of $3,000 being my thing, let me just see if I can have fun with $1,000. And let me evaluate if that's not enough, if that is enough. Why do I feel like it's not enough? Like, we have to get into this space of, and I like to say, because it's a new year, this is the 31st day of the first month of 2022, right? Wow. And some of us have put things into place that we should be able to see in 31 days. Is it working for our lives and who we want to be? Or is it not working? And why is it working? And why is it not working? Evaluation time. I like to do 30-day evaluation. So that's the other thing. Don't be afraid to take a 30-day evaluation. If you are at a point where financially you're good and you feel like you're saving, you're not spending on frivolous things, you're happy, great. Do it again for another 28 days in February. But if you're still going, I don't know what I'm doing financially, I have more bills and more money coming in, let's evaluate. Why is that? What are you spending your money on? It's a time, this is the year of being honest. This is the year of being truthful and living in your truth. The theme for Couples Retreat coming up this year, Couples Retreat 2, is live your truth. I'm not going to say too much else about it, but that's the theme of even that retreat, is how you live in your truth. I feel like more than the theme of the show, it's the theme of our year. What is the truth and how do you walk in it? You feel me?
I do. I absolutely do. And you know what? That's awesome, because I think that so often we don't realize if something's not working, we don't have to stick to it. We don't have to feel like we're failing. We can change in real time. You can make changes.
Listen, we're not even just talking about financial. I mean, like you said earlier, usually your show is about relationships. Say what you just said again, because it applies to that too. Say what you said again.
You know what? Go ahead. What exactly? I'm thinking of this next. What you said made me think of this next question, and this is evaluation and being able to change and looking at something in real time.
You just said it. Don't feel like you have to be stuck. Don't feel like you can't change. Whether it's in a job, a relationship, the way you communicate in your relationship. This is a year of shift, right? Yeah. The pandemic has asked us to shift for the last 2 years. And if you're still stuck in what used to be, or you're hoping it's going to go back to what it was, child, please, this is a whole new thing. and it's going to continue to be new. So if you're still kind of looking at what used to be and I can't wait for it to go back, you in for a rude awakening. What you need to be doing is saying, how do I evaluate every 30 days, every 2 weeks to see if I'm shifting into the new that the universe is asking me to live?
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, this next question, we're definitely, of course, we'll have you come back and talk about couples therapy, because this question kind of relates to that, because relationships are a big, where people always want to do better in their relationships or find a peaceful place.
Yeah.
So the young lady wrote in that she has been in an imperfect relationship. Her guy has cheated on her, and she's asking, can you find personal peace? Can she start to heal even though the relationship is in a very dysfunctional place? She's caught him cheating, and now she's like bugging the car. She says, tracking his car. I put a listening device in the house. Is it better for me to learn to let him cheat in peace if I don't have the strength right now to leave the relationship? That touched my spirit, because even though it's funny that she asked that, there are so many people in relationships that they're not happy in, but they don't have the strength to leave. So her question is, can she begin to heal herself? Because she feels like dealing with the infidelity and constantly confronting him has started to break down her self-esteem. But I don't know. It just seems odd to me to ask, can I start to heal? Can I find personal peace in a situation that's not peaceful for me?
I'll tell you, and I want to make sure everybody, that's with us. My giggle is not at the situation. My giggle is at us trying to be healthy in dis-ease. Dis-ease is disease, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you take yourself or take ourselves outside of the relationship, it's like saying, can I become healed from being an alcoholic around everyone who's drinking? Or can I heal from being a drug addict and all I'm doing is surrounding myself with drug addicts? It's like, we have to remove ourselves from the toxic environment to find what healthy really is, and then adapt to what works for us in the healthy environment. And so I'm gonna ignore the relationship for a second, because I don't feel like that's the toxicity. I feel like that's the pool she's swimming in, but the toxicity is within. If you're not making healthy choices for yourself, then you're gonna be in a toxic relationship, in a toxic pool. So now you're just swimming in toxicity, wondering how come it's not working. I personally don't believe there's healing inside of toxicity. You can't function in dysfunction.
Right.
And so that's what I feel like she's trying to do. She's trying to function healthy in a dysfunctional situation. And so that's going to be a cycle, a spin cycle. I feel like you have to get to a healthy place within yourself to really be able to say what works for me and what doesn't work for me. Infidelity doesn't work for me. I don't care who it is, what it is. That infidelity pierces my soul. So I can't deal with a cheater. I just can't. I don't care what degree of the relationship it's in. That is just dis-ease for my soul.
Right.
So what I do is I try to have open and honest conversation. I try to live an honest life myself. I try to surround myself around openness and honesty, honest conversation. Even the hard topics have to be talked about. If I'm an example of truth and honesty, I'm going to attract truth and honesty.
Right.
Again, though, but I have to get to that healthy place, right?
Yeah.
So I say, all of that to say, whoever this sister is, or whoever anybody is that's dealing with that, you're going to swim in a cycle of toxicity and a pool of toxicity if you don't take yourself out of it and try to heal one day at a time. If you're still trying to swim in mud, you're never going to find the clear water.
Yeah. That's interesting. I feel for her, because I can't imagine. I didn't even know that you could put listening devices in cars and homes. That is a lot of, it sounds a little bit expensive.
And amen, praise God that you don't know that. Either do I. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You start to swim in mud, and all of a sudden you don't even know what clear water is like anymore, because now you're trying to function in the mud.
Right.
Oh, get out the mud, take a shower, start all over again. And don't be afraid to know that there is better that exists. See, that's the other thing, Crystal. A lot of times we don't believe that there's better. All of a sudden we try to make what's happening work, even though we're not we're not healthy, we're not happy. We know that it doesn't work for us, but we're afraid to think that there's better outside of it. So we just stay. We just stay as opposed to understanding, and here we get deeper in this too. It depends on where your God life is too, because I believe the God I serve doesn't want me in that kind of toxicity. That I wasn't built for that. That's why it's uncomfortable for me. I'm not built to deal with infidelity. It's not comfortable for me. So why would I push myself to deal with it? God's already told me that's not for you. What I have for you is better than that. So what I have for you and reach for that.
Right.
That comes from a God relationship though. You know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of work that has to be done to pull you out of that toxic situation. So let me say this overall, the first thing I would say, step one, is work on your God relationship and your belief that there can be better. Step two is, what does that belief look like for you in your life? And then start to function in that one day at a time.
Yeah, that's I'm glad that we were able to give her something to start, because honestly, lady in the chat said that's very hard if you don't know how to do that, if you don't know where to start. And obviously, a lot of times it's like you're drowning in 3 feet water, but you don't realize all you have to do is stand up.
Well, and again, you have to define what's the stand up. For me, the stand up is saying, okay, God, I surrender. I've been trying this on my own. It's not working. I hear, even if I'm not a believer yet, I hear your way is always best. Your plan's better than my plan. That's what people say. But at some point, I have to believe in that enough to even just try God.
Right. Yeah.
So at this point, it's a matter of, let me just try God, because trying me doesn't work. So let me just try God and see if that's any better. And 9.5 times out of 10, what God has for you is going to always be better than what you're trying to do for yourself.
I promise. I am a testament to that.
Yes,
ma'am.
We are.
Samantha says, thank you for saying that. It's confirmation for me. That's awesome. That's why I'm so glad you're here with us tonight, because like I said, it's just so many people are dealing with so much. And I think that because we're still dealing with COVID to some extent, we just don't have the opportunity to come together. You can't go to a conference. Some people aren't going to church, and that interaction and connection with other people is missing. So this is our way of allowing all of us to have a little session with AJ here to kind of get us all started. So we're thankful for that. Definitely thankful for that. Before I ask you this next question, I want to hear from you. This show, I really like this show a lot, because like I said, it's not just relationships, the life therapy. It's not just relationships. It's not just celebrities. These are just people with issues like we all are, that want help and may not even realize how much help they need. What inspired you, and what have you learned from doing this?
What have I learned?
What have you learned from doing this particular show that may be different than, dealing with the celebrity relationships and things like that? Well,
first, one of the things that I'm really excited about with couples, I'm not looking now, you got me confused in the show. Thank you, God. I can
therapy.
Life therapy, yes, on TV One, Tuesday nights. Everybody make sure you watch. Most of these people have asked for my help at some point or another over the years, whether it's a tweet or a DM or a comment on Instagram or an email. So I love that I can actually find them and give them the attention. I personally think the healing even starts there. That I've learned. I didn't realize that a lot of times the smallest gesture, like people just understanding that someone does care and that they're seen. I get so many emails, Crystal, where they say, AJ, you're probably never going to read this, or you're never going to see it. And there's no way for them to know that I do read it and I do see it. Maybe not everybody, but this show is an opportunity for me to walk up on somebody and say, you know what, you tweeted me, and matter of fact, let me pull up what you said, and here I am. And just to watch their response, or sometimes their shock is just in their eyes, like they're seeing a ghost. And that's emotional for me, because I know that they probably believe. See, that word keeps coming for us tonight, the believe, believe, believe. And so I'm learning even just me showing up is a part of their healing. And I'm grateful to be even that degree of healing. I'm also learning that, you know, a lot of times it's hard for us, especially culturally and as a community, African-American community, community of color, it's hard for us to ask for help. We don't know what that's like. We don't have that connection to say, you know, I have to admit that where I am, I can't do it on my own. Like the young lady that just was asking about leaving the relationship, you know, like I just said, you know, you can't do it on your own, whether it's get therapy, whether it's, you know, find a spiritual counselor. A lot of these issues that we're tackling in our lives, we just can't get out of the valley on our own. And that's okay. And that's normal. You're not alone. And that's what I love about this show, to be able to say it's not a celebrity thing. It's not even necessarily just a regular couples thing. We're tackling all kind of issues on Life Therapy, from Mario Stinchcomb, my amazing new little brother who was wrongfully incarcerated, unfortunately, served 20 years in prison wrongfully. And he and his fiance asked for my help. You know, I learned that even just cases that I've never done before as a life coach, I'm also growing as a life coach. That's the other thing I'm learning as a therapist, as a light worker. We all have things to learn as we move forward. No one knows everything. And I love being a living example and testimony to that. We're dealing with, you know, image crisis and color crisis. We're dealing with fibroids. We're dealing with relationships. We're dealing with health issues like lupus. We're dealing with all kinds of stuff. We got 18 episodes. I love TV One for giving me 18 episodes. 20 minus
heard of nowadays. You don't get that many. That's awesome. Yeah.
Crystal. Right? Unheard of. And so even that, I'm learning that, you know, the universe is delivering this platform to me and for me and through me to give the help to people, and even just to open people's eyes that therapy is not a bad thing. If I can do that, then my intention's met. You know, I'm not going to help everybody, but I want one to see just getting help, just getting support, can be everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so true. And I didn't know you had 18 episodes. Yes, girl. Congratulations on that. And because and kudos to TV One for seeing that this is a necessary, like, we need this. This is something that, you know, yes, it's great. We love the entertaining things that we have on television, but people need help and people need to hear positivity. And I think that people watching, I've watched a lot of the episodes, and you can find a little bit of yourself in a situation that may seem very different than yours. But you can find, I'm like, well, you know, that I can relate. I can feel that, you know? So yes.
This is what I'm hoping. And I'm going to ask you this question, because what I'm hoping and praying is that everyone feels the same way that you do. You know, every case is different. Every placement of the person in the situation is different. But I'm hoping that everyone says, I never thought of that. Or she's talking to me. Or, you know, and that's, as executive producer, I was so honored that TV One said, you know, you do it on IG, you do it on Twitter, you do it for platforms like this rolling out. You know, we want you to bring that same kind of honesty and truth to the TV platform so that people can understand it is important and there is help. And if you can't afford therapy, like, again, a lot of people say, AJ, I wish I could afford you. Well, now you can. Tune into Life Therapy on TV One, right?
Someone just asked, how can I get to talk to you in person? Well, it sounds like you may want to tweet her. And keep tweeting. I believe in, you know, if I don't hear back, nothing's personal. Keep tweeting. You never know, because that's a great, you know, that you never know what people may see. But obviously that's a way to, now social media allows us to touch each other in a different way. We have a little bit more access.
Yeah. Well, I want to make sure that everybody knows too, because if people are asking that, you know, I do consultations. Of course, the schedule's been a little crazy with me filming. I'm sure. I'm going to start back doing sale consultations probably in the spring. So one-on-one consultations, literally on the phone. But even in terms of the show, I'm still on IG. I do even though the cameras go off, the therapy continues every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Every Wednesday after the Tuesday airing of the show, I'm on Instagram talking about the case, talking to the people, talking to the doctors. So that's also free therapy. And then I'm also going to start back with my soul food sessions on Thursdays. So, I mean, it's here. It's here. Help is here. And if you didn't know, now you do. Now you do. Now you do.
Absolutely. So you guys, you could definitely find her on IG and tune in, because like I said, you can, just because you may not have the same situation, you can find yourself or find patterns that you may not realize, you know, in different things.
Right.
Now, I got to ask you, before I let you go, I want to definitely, you know, this is a little bit of a heavy question, but it also is what we're seeing now. We just learned that former beauty pageant queen, Miss Universe, and also she was an anchor on Extra, Chelsea Christ, passed away from suicide. And what is hurtful, what is one of the most, I mean, people are looking, and it's so it's twofold. It's hurtful to see someone, she was 30 years old, seemed like at the prime of her life, to take her life. And people did not know that most people didn't know there was something going on there. A few weeks ago, we heard that Regina King's son, you know, took his life from suicide as well. Hurtful. And I can't imagine how it feels to be their family, but also as a public, because we are connected. All of us are grieving, you know, these deaths, and even more, you know, other people that we don't know. I just think it goes back to, again, how can we know? We look at someone like this young lady, and it seems like there shouldn't be anything wrong, because we're so tuned into the aesthetic. We're so tuned into what it appears, the success. And we know that success is not indicative of being internally healthy. I've learned that being around some very successful people. So my question to you is just, what are some signs, if we want to be able to help people, someone in our life that we may not know, what are some things that we can do to make sure that we're really checking on our strong friends? And if we're dealing with, there are a lot of people, I think, dealing with depression and may not realize it. They may not have assigned a name to it, but they're struggling. They're trying to keep up the appearances, and they're struggling. And so just some words of advice for people that may be struggling, and people that want to be able to help someone that is struggling and don't know how to help.
I think, you know, first of all, I send my condolences. You know, it hurts me. Because it's such a hard time. You know, I'm emotional about it because we are living in such a hard time. You know, I mentioned earlier that with the pandemic, there's so much change that's required of us. And change is probably the most challenging, difficult thing to master, because it's so uncomfortable. And it's easy. A lot of times I'll say, you know, get comfortable in the discomfort. And that's not easy for everybody, you know, to be comfortable in a discomfort. I got to say this, and this is the best way I can answer this. And I want to send condolences to not only the families of these two recent losses, but to families that we don't hear about, you know, in the public. But this is what I feel like I'm processing as I'm talking to my friends. You know, Regina and Ian Sr. and Ian Jr. are in my acting community. And so there's a lot of my friends and community that are affected. You know, a lot of my mom friends who have sons. And so we've been talking. And I think at this point, what I'm going to say is, I don't really think there's any way to know. I don't care what therapist, what doctor, I don't think there's any way to know, because our society teaches us to master the cover.
Yes.
To master wearing the mask.
Yeah.
You know, here you have this beauty queen that's won the top title as an African American woman. She's drop dead gorgeous, a successful attorney. And like you said, you think from the outside everything's fine. Yeah. And so that's the problem. You know, with Ian, you know, you would think from the outside everything's fine, but we can't look at the outside. And that's what this is teaching us. My biggest takeaway so far is have more conversations to normalize. And again, I gotta say, even with life therapy, you know, one of the intentions, as I said before, but now this makes sense for this, I want to normalize conversations that we are not comfortable having, you know, whether the conversation is suicide or fibroids, whether the conversation is lupus or cancer, whether the conversation is incest in our families or abuse and molestation. You know, we've got to have these conversations because we're dealing with these issues in our families and in our communities.
Right.
The conversation around suicide has got to be, and this is what I say to all of us, start to ask each other, what are the pressures in your life? Let's start talking about what the pressures are, because we don't talk about what pressures are. You know, what makes you feel pressured, and it's different for each person. You know, I say this to say, like, even with Regina and Ian, you know, we're all looking at the pictures of them on the red carpet. You know, and I want to use myself as an example because I have a niece that grew up in Durham, North Carolina, and actually, you know, finished and moved to LA with me for a while. And it makes me wonder if my inclusion, in terms of what I thought was inclusion in my life, my career, could have been pressure for her. But that's not what I'm interested in. Regina's life, Regina's accolades could have been pressure for Ian.
Yeah.
And you know, I've known about it, you know, and I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but I'm just saying, we had conversations about pressure. It may have been pressure to be Miss USA. It may have been pressure to be that gorgeous. You know, we don't know what people process as pressures. And trying to live a life within pressure, but acting like it's not, is toxic. It's toxic. It's toxicity. So just to start, I want to say, and again, I know we don't have a lot of time, but just to say, in this time and space in this world, I want us to open up conversations, and even just the simple thing is saying to each other, what do you feel like pressure is for you today? What was pressure for you this week? You know, what feels like pressure that you may not think other people will understand? Those are questions we can ask of each other in our friendships, in our relationships, in our families. You know, it may be pressure to COVID test. You know, now we're all COVID testing
consistently, right?
Right? It may feel like pressure because I've even had people who thank God I have not tested positive. In Jesus' name, I have not. But people who have, like, we've laughed saying, you know, after a while they see that positive pop up and they go, no, I'm not positive. I've been negative all this time. I'm not positive. I've done everything right. It's pressure to stay negative.
It is.
Pressure to stay negative. So then what is pressure? How are we defining pressure these days? And just to start having conversations about it is a start to open up the conversation, to start being true and honest. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense, because I think with our strong, we say that our strong friends, and I think with strong, we could think of people that look like they have everything together. But it to say, are you okay, is one thing, but to say, what makes you feel pressure, it's a question that allows them to think, and then for them to share, and even to ask yourself, where am I feeling pressure, so I can figure out what is causing me, you know, because I think a lot of times we don't realize it because we get in the rigmarole of trying to be successful, working for this, and we may not realize where that is coming from. So I love that question. It's a little bit deeper than just, are you okay?
Yeah, no, we have to go past the are you okay, because we've learned to say, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. And then we don't ask anything else. So now that question is outmoded, right? So now we have to go a step further in our new year, time, and in this life of pandemic. And that's why I'm suggesting that the new question is, where do you feel pressure? How do you identify pressure? What is not working in your life? What are you saying is pressure? And just remember, everyone, that, you know, these conversations require practice. It's not going to be comfortable right away. You know, there's a time when you're not comfortable talking about sex, and then all of a sudden it's no big deal to talk about sex, right? Because you've been practicing conversation. So these conversations are therapeutic, and I'm not saying that just because it is life therapy, but that's what the show is about, honestly. You know, not to put plugs in the show, but to talk about life, to talk about it, to have the conversations. That is the therapy, to open up these conversations so we get comfortable and more practice with talking about it.
Absolutely. Anissa says, when asking the questions, please listen to their answers. Do not be dismissive or minimize. And I think that's something that we do sometimes. We think, oh, this person has it all together. Oh, girl, you'll be okay. You're strong. You'll get through it. I've had someone tell me that recently. Oh, Crystal, you're strong. Well, okay. And then you feel like I can't. So that means this person doesn't see me as someone that can have a problem. I've got to, go back into that strong facade and get behind that. So when you say that, I think people mean that as a compliment, but it can also be a form of being dismissive to that person's issues.
That's another reason why I say, sometimes people that we're closest to are not necessarily the best people to talk to therapeutically, because they're not there to just listen. As opposed to, if you're in therapy, that's what they're there for. They're there to listen and help you process certain things. That's what I'm suggesting, and really, really pursuing people to think more about therapy. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show, is because I wanted to show my view of therapy. It's not necessarily a white lab coat where you lay on a couch in a doctor's office. It's a cozy environment, and we're talking. It's friends asking me for help. Like in the you played. They're friends of mine who said, AJ, we need your help. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can help, but I'll try. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's that, and therapy shouldn't be a scary word. But I gotta say, in terms of, people listening and the right people listening, I just think we have to practice. It's new for us as a community. It's new for us as a people. And I want to throw out a challenge, to be honest. I want to throw out a challenge. Just for this week, I want all of us to practice communicating in our most honest place. In our most honest place. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're saying, do it from your most honest place. And let the people you're around, your support system, your family, your relationship, give them a prelude. Let them know this week, no harm, no foul, nothing personal. I am going to work on my own health by communicating from my most honest place. And I hope you can receive my honesty, not taking things personal, but just know that I'm trying to be my healthiest self. And part of it is to communicate my truth, whatever that is. Because a lot of times we'll block each other into a corner by going, well, wow, that was tough. Wow, that was hard. Well, you know what? Sometimes my truth may come off hard, but again, I gotta let it out. It's my health. I gotta let it out. Now, how you take it, if we're gonna be honest and truthful, how you take it is saying, you know what? Thank you for your honesty. I'm gonna let you have that. I'll agree or disagree tomorrow. I want to welcome your honesty, so I'm listening, and I'm really trying to hear how you feel about something, so that I can adjust where I am about it. See, that's the kind of communication we gotta move into. Right now, we're listening. We're listening just so we can talk next time. We're not really hearing each other. And I think that's what the comment's about. Tell everybody, as soon as this is over, call your friends, text them, tweet them, DM them, whatever you're doing, and say, you know what? For the rest of this week, I'm doing what AJ said. I'm operating in pure honesty, and I hope you can handle it.
I love that. Well, we have people saying that they're going to take the challenge. I'm going to post this because I think that's a great step towards our own mental health, is being able to be honest and not feeling like we have to say the right thing. Right. Or there's that saying that people say, well, if you ask, are you okay? Well, I'm fine. I'm not going to complain. Nobody cares anyway. That's something I hear a lot from strong people or people that are, and that defeats the entire purpose of conversation. So this is a different approach. And you did exactly what I wanted. I wanted some nuggets for us to be able to take in this time. And so if we can all, you guys that are watching, share this. And I promise you, if you tell people that, someone else is going to listen and say, you know what, I'm going to try that as well. And trying it for a week is not a long time. So it's not overwhelming.
That's why I said that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And let me say this, your target and your intention is to not hurt anyone's feelings. Your target and your intention in being that kind of honest for this next 7 days is to express yourself. And you're going to also find who's willing to receive your expression.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So, right. You feel me, Crystal? It's your help taking care of yourself, but it's also evaluating who you're around. Woo! Right?
Yes. Sophie says, I've done that and in result have lost friends, which I'm okay with. And I think it's going to kind of separate who really needs to be there and who may be causing pressure.
So let me say it this way. Who is it? What's her name?
Sophia.
So Sophia, this is for you and for all of us. This is the new thing for 2022. Y'all write this down, tweet it, I don't care. Give me credit. I don't have to give me credit. But here's the new thing. If you lose them, they're not supposed to be in your life.
Yeah.
If you lose them, they're not your friends. So you can't say I lost friends.
Yeah.
What you have to say is I lost people that I thought were friends.
That's it.
I lost people.
Definitive change there. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So and now that space has become available and open to you to actually fill it with the true love and support.
Right. Honest
You can really call friends. Don't you look, I gotta throw something. Don't you get me started on this.
You know what? Somebody said, ouch, ouch, ouch. Yes, that's the truth.
And that's the truth. You just said it. That's the truth. That's what we're trying to live in. The truth is, if my honesty pushes you away, I hate that I didn't do it sooner.
Right. Absolutely. Well, again, as always, I so enjoy having you. Thank you so much for your time, AJ. Please let people know, again, not only where we can see live therapy on TV One, but also where we can tune in for this live therapy on your social media that we can get some of it after the show.
Yes. Life therapy every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. on TV One. And then the day after, the therapy continues because the cameras go off, but the therapy doesn't stop. That's on Wednesday nights on my IG, at the AJ Zone. And I also do 30 minutes at TV One TV, on TV One's IG. So from 8 to 9 on Wednesday nights, you can find me on TV One's IG as well as at the AJ Zone, my IG. And then hopefully in the near future, I'll go back to my Soul Food Thursdays, which has nothing to do with the show. It's just doing this kind of talk weekly. Yeah. Because I do believe we need it. And believe it or not, I get a lot out of it too. So that's why I say the conversation is therapy. Like, you know what I mean? Even those of us that are light workers still need the connection. And at a time where we can't really hug like we used to or touch like we used to, because we're in mask and all you're seeing is this much of each other. We gotta find ways to connect, y'all. We gotta find ways to connect. So, if this is what's keeping us healthy and safe for right now, this is what we do. So
this is what we do.
And I hope I see you soon.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you so much, AJ. Thank you for all that you do for our community. And like I said, again, thank you to TV One for having the foresight to realize that this is necessary. This is must-see TV. This is the type of programming that we need to kind of tune into to balance us out. So kudos to them for having the foresight to see that. And as always, we love you so much, sending you love and light. And we'll definitely look forward to having you back soon to talk about relationships.
Well, yes, and I'm going to claim, we're going to do a monthly check-in. So I'm claiming that. We'll talk to you about that later. But I think here on Rolling Out, we need to do a 30-day check-in this year to do a series.
I love that. And people are, just the responses from this, people are so appreciative. When I put up that we were going to do an interactive workshop, people were waiting like, okay, when are y'all getting started? So I feel like it's our way of being able to get back. We love our community, but we've got to we put up a lot of news, which sometimes is difficult to read, but we've got to have balance. And so we really salute your spirit because we feel it. And I thank you for being willing to come in and just, sit and really focus on the questions that came in. So that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, this is just the beginning. I love you, Crystal. I love all you guys. Stay faithful and stay honest.
Stay honest.
That's where the health starts. Stay honest with yourself. Everybody else, you'll attract the honesty if you're honest. Follow?
That's it. And don't be afraid to say and. I'm adding that and.
Yeah. I live in the U.S. and in Africa. I'm an activist and a life coach and a philanthropist and a producer. Add as many as you can. Don't let nobody put you in a box.
Absolutely.
Live with no ceiling.
Live with no ceiling. Thank you so much, AJ Johnson. We will see you soon.
I promise.
All right. Love you too. Bye-bye. All right, you all. I hope you enjoyed that. What an amazing treasure AJ is to our community. I'm definitely going to hold them accountable to checking in with us. And thank you all for your questions and your comments as this was going on. Like I said, I know that there's a lot going on, but conversations like this, I believe, are the beginning to mental health. And that's what this channel is all about. For those of you that are watching on the Rolling Out's Facebook page, make sure that you share this. Wherever you're watching this, make sure you share that because someone else needs to hear that they need to live with intention and live in their truth. Just for the next week, try it and see what happens. I'm going to try it myself and I'll definitely let you guys know what happens. I do want to say I had an amazing time at Ministry this past weekend. If you're not following that page on Instagram, make sure you're following them. They're Ministry Live, I believe, and we talked about church hurt, another conversation that we don't have a lot. So it was a great conversation. You can go to that page and see some of the snippets, and I'll be sharing some as well. As always, I love you all for watching, and I will be back, as always, on Friday. And of course, next Monday with more relationship and reality check. So I love you, and I will see you all soon. Have a blessed and productive week. And remember to live in your truth. Bye.